but a lot of the times I see deficiencies happening due to an issue with the environment, right? So, let's take, we've been talking about light, right? So light burn, right? So light will affect a plant in a couple different ways, negatively. So let's talk about negative impacts of light, right? So the intensity of the light itself can definitely harm the plant tissue. And so that's one type of response. And so we've seen the plant folding upwards, we've seen the plant folding downwards, and that's a physical response of the plant that it does not like its environment, right? And so, light drives key portions of photosynthesis as well. And so certain nutrient molecules need and respond to the photosynthesis that's happening within the plant. Like magnesium molecules excite differently than calcium molecules, and they also interact with each other. That's why you generally see CalMag mixed together, because they interact with each other. They're a symbiotic element and nutrient. And so, light can affect the plant in many different ways. Too much light, not enough light, right? So a lot of times we see nutrient deficiencies present themselves generally because something else is happening in the environment. Unless you can prove that your environment is super stable, that your plants are liking it, they've always liked it under that same temperature and humidity, a lot of times something happens with the environment, right? The lack of airflow can present itself in a lot of different deficiencies as well too. So we'll start seeing calcium and magnesium deficiencies due to the lack of airflow sometimes, because the plant, produces what's called a guttation, right? And it essentially starts like watering itself from the leaf surface. We see little sap nodules growing around the leaf. And then essentially what happens with that is then it dries out, and it's a mineral deposit. So it dries out and essentially burns the edge of the leaf, right? So we may think that there's a deficiency going on because of a nutritive thing, right? When in doubt, it's an environmental reaction that is causing that deficiency to happen. And so when I start to see deficiencies or problems with plant health, I look at my environment first and say, okay, am I giving it the optimal environment? Did anything change in my environment? Did the humidity change? Did the light source change? Was there a moment where my HVAC broke? And I look at the environment, and if I'm giving it an optimal environment, then the next thing I check is a pH, right? And pH drives all nutrients availability to your plant, right? Whether you're growing hydroponically or soil, then you look at the plant's pH, the soil's pH, as well as your nutrient solutions pH, right? And at that point, you've eliminated your environment from the problem. You've eliminated or just exploring pH as your problem. And then at that point, you can go into your nutrition. But a lot of times I find nutritional problems stem off of some kind of other environmental condition or some other reaction.